My Missing Piece, a collection of stories from amputees for anyone navigating loss, reclaiming strength, and redefining possibility. The Amputee Center and Ohio University's College of Health Sciences and Professions are proud to collaborate in launching an innovative podcast series that highlights resilience, empowerment, and community. This partnership unites expertise in education and rehabilitation to amplify the voices of amputees, share inspiring stories, and foster meaningful conversations on accessibility and well-being. By leveraging the Amputee Center's deep-rooted commitment to advocacy and CHSP's studio resources, this initiative will serve as a platform for education, inclusion, and support for individuals navigating life after losing a limb. We are excited to bring this vision to life and create lasting impact together. All right, so here we are with Marley. So, hi.
Hiyo.
How are you?
I'm good.
So, what we're here to talk about today is you and your life experience. And we have done this. This is the 4th episode. And so, what I'm just trying to do is compile stories of people with amputations so that we can hopefully help people feel like they have, a story they can relate to. You are welcome to tell us anything you want to. You are welcome to leave anything out that doesn't feel like you want to talk about it. But just remember that as we're sharing our story and our experience, that this is meant to hopefully help somebody in the future, especially if there was challenges that you had, that if they find your story at a time when they're going through the challenge, that it is maybe you're a light in that storm that maybe you didn't have and that your family didn't have. Just because although there are projected to be 5 million people in America with amputations, it's interesting that, when it does happen to someone, they're like, I don't know anybody else, So let's talk about your childhood and life before the incident.
Okay, that's hard. I don't remember a lot of it. What do you want to know?
Well, what was childhood like? Siblings, family? What did you do for fun?
I am the youngest of 4 now, used to be 3. Um, oh, uh, I lived with my great grandma a lot. I used to, what did I do for fun? I used to mow lawns for fun, in all honesty. When my grandma finally let me mow the lawn, I used to do it so much 'cause I loved doing it for fun.
Wow, that's cool. Did you play any sports or do activities?
3rd grade, I did track. Hated it with every being in my body. Other than that, no.
Mm-hmm. So just regular life stuff, running around in the backyard, spending time with friends, going to school. So, and you have grown up and lived in Parkersburg, West Virginia your whole life?
Yep. At least this was for the most part. I lived I lived in the country, but like 6, 7 miles out from Parkersburg.
So, what grade were you in when the accident happened?
Saddest thing is, it was my first day of 4th grade year. It was after school. The day of school, I was so excited. Woke up late, so we didn't take pictures in the morning. We took them after, and apparently, right after the pictures, I went to play with my sister. Did not remember that. My sister said no, so I went to go mow the lawn, and while we were switching, it just kind of went under.
Okay, so it was a riding mower?
Yes, it was, I don't know. Yeah, it was a riding lawnmower. We were on a slope, and in what I call my child stupidity, anybody else says common sense. I don't think it's common sense. I didn't want my great grandma to lose her lawnmower, so I let go of the clutch and I let go of the clutch by accident, so I ran after it. And I ran down the hill, I guess, well, because it was going straight for the tree. So as it was going, I ran I guess I fell. I either slipped or fell, and I ended up with my left ankle about below it, and then my right bent back all awkwardly.
Okay. So, so this was at your grandma's property?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've shown me a picture um, that was taken because you just said you guys woke up late that morning. You went to school, first day of school. So you, at the end of school, went to grandma's and she snapped a picture of you and your sister in your first day of school clothes. So that's the last picture taken.
Yes, and my thing is, I didn't have this scary memory until after I saw the picture again. I remember having blood all over the shorts I was wearing. Did not remember that until I saw the pictures. Like, that's where those shorts went. They got bloody and they got ruined.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So how old were you?
I was 8.
8. Okay. So you were going to help your grandmother mow the lawn, and who was switching the lawnmower with you?
Me and my great grandma. It was my great grandma's lawnmower, and we were switching because she was getting tired, and I was like, I'll do it. Why not? And we didn't know the blades were on it.
Mm. And who else was there that day?
My mom was asleep because she worked the night before. My dad was up cleaning out the car. My sister was inside, and we switched. And then I guess I started screaming loudly. My dad came over, ripped the lawnmower off me, started yelling for my mom. And this, the weirdest thing is when in the car, I told my dad to slow down because he was driving like 90. He didn't have a license.
Mm.
I told him to slow down.
So he put you in the car and took you to the emergency room.
Yes, my mom came running out with no pants on, which is an hilarious part of that.
Mm.
She had a towel on her. She ran back in to get a towel, and then next thing I know, I'm in the ER. They rushed me back. I get it all wrapped up, so I just assumed, oh, it's fine. It was just like a little cut, maybe a little bit more. Cause I looked at it once in the hospital on the way there. I was like, but my mom was trying to hide it because blood everywhere. And so we get to the hospital. I get a lot of pain meds. Meet a really cool nurse, a really cool nurse, and everybody in my family that was there came, I guess.
Mhm.
Don't remember that.
Mm. So, um, I mean, accidents happen. So, the family just did what they could as quickly as they could. What has been, you've mentioned your sister some. What was her take on the day and the experience?
I have no clue. I, I guess she was sad. I've never tried to put myself in her shoes because I didn't want to have to see if she felt guilt or anything. Because like it wasn't her fault at any point.
Mhm.
It was just her first day of I think 7th grade, going to a new school. So I was just like, okay. And so I don't think it was bad. But at the same time, her little sister, the one that she protected her whole life, lost a foot
Mhm.
because she said no to going to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freak thing, but
Right. And I think that is definitely everybody goes through that, after something happens is, if I would have turned left instead of turning right, if I would have, gone back inside instead of running outside. And, um, hopefully there's a sense of, seeing you prosper in life that heals some of that. But, in the moment, I'm sure that it was really hard for everybody. And I know your grandmother called and give us that perception of what it was like to be the 8-year-old. Like, what would you imagine? So we get phone calls at the center all the time. So what would you imagine you would want to say to a family and a child, with a similar age and a similar experience happening? What would you say should be done that would might provide a better experience?
have them try to meet another amputee child or somebody that went through it. You can try to find an older amputee who also knows somewhat of what's going to happen, but as you grow, there are terrifying things to look out for. There's going to be more surgeries. There's going to be more legs that you're going to have to get used to. And it's when you get a new leg, it's kind of like learning how to walk with another piece of your body because you're used to you're used to like your normal feet, and then you get thrown into yeah, let's add like a pair of 9-inch heels, like just on your just like regular heels on like a two-foot person, two-footed person, and that's how it feels. You have to like learn how to walk, you have to learn your balance back, and it's difficult.
Mm-hmm. So would you have rathered your friends not all send you get well cards?
They weren't my friends. That's my thing. I had like a solid probably 5, 6 friends. I was like, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like the rest of them, I knew their names and that's about it. I might have talked to them once in the whole 4, 5 years that I had known them.
So, 5th grade, 6th grade, you got your second or third foot. You're up and moving and feeling pretty good in school.
5th grade, I started playing basketball. That was like something I'd wanted to do in 4th, but accident stopped it. So 5th grade, I was like, I'm doing it, even if I don't get it. It's might as well try, see what happens. I got it. I was on the basketball team. I was on it. I was on it halfway through 6th, and then I quit because it was bothering my leg too much.
Yeah, I did not know that about you. How cool is that?
The thing that is the thing that I did that I'm proud of the most is 6 months after my accident on a leg that caused me so much pain, I roller skated.
Wow.
Yeah, I went roller skating. My leg was bright red. Should not have done it, but I wanted to, so I did.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, I again, I did not know that about. Now I know why you put roller derby on our wish list. So 6th grade, so you quit playing basketball. But as far as like going through the regular life stuff of grade school, did you feel comfortable in your body and fashion? Did you find that you wanted to, I know like now you wear shorts whenever you're hot, like it's not a big deal, but how were you, through 5th, 6th, 7th grade, like as you were maturing into fashion, and did you feel like you needed to cover it up, or did you like not care and just wear shorts?
I don't think I wore shorts. I might have worn once or twice in the actual summer when I wasn't around other kids, but like for the most part, I didn't necessarily cover it up, but I wore things that made it seem like I had 2 feet. Like nobody knew if I didn't pop my leg off so regularly like I do. Like first day of 6th grade, no, before that when I had to go to orientation, I popped my leg off to use as a little headrest. I don't because I do that. It's just a little headrest I can use, and I was like, I'm not gonna hide it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also not something I'm gonna make. I'm gonna proudly wave around like, hey, I'm an ABT, because like I didn't know how these people would perceive me.
Mm-hmm. So at what grade did you switch to a different school?
6th I went to middle school. No, 5th for 6th I went to middle school, and then 7th, the March of 6th, so towards the end of the year of 6th grade to 7th, I did the West Virginia online thingy because of COVID. And then 8th, I was going to go back normally, but my anxiety got really high about people were watching me. Everybody glared at me because my leg, blah, blah, blah. So I switched to online. I was on 2 different ones. That was the year that I didn't really do anything. I was more of a hermit. I didn't really even do schoolwork, and I somehow still passed. And then 9th grade, I tried to go to PHS, like an actual high school, and it was too much walking, and they didn't have the right accommodations, I don't think. It's- because my guidance counselor knew I was amputee, and she put, I don't know what they were actually. They put me on going from the field house, which was probably across the whole school of it, and all the way up to the third floor, back down to the first, back up to the third, and then all the way across the school again. It wasn't the easiest way to walk. I had 5 minutes between each class to do it.
Mm-hmm. So, how old were you then?
Ninth grade,
13.
13, I think.
Well, so at that point, though, you felt like, I mean, as far as like navigating life and the world and just basically everything else in your life was just being home and then school.
Yeah.
Like you really hadn't done any other activities.
Not really.
Mm-hmm. Um, so at that point, because you had already had like the online school experience, you and your family decided to do online schooling again.
Yes, for October of 2022. Yeah. September of 2022, my mom found a school that was like an actual online. I had live classes, I had real teachers that could help me if I needed help and all that. October of 2022, I started it, and I've been there since.
Cool. So, do you, and then at that point for your prosthetics, what was your experience? I know you've mentioned going to Shriners, but you also went to Miller's Prosthetics.
I first started off in Morgantown, and then I went to Shriners. I didn't get a prosthetic leg until later in the next year, or the beginning of the next year, because I did let my leg heal, which was its process in itself. And then I had 2 or 3 legs from there, and then I went to Miller's Prosthetic for one, and now I'm back to Shriners.
Okay. So, what was your, because coming up in February, and I know this because I have where your mom signed you in the first time. So you're coming up on your anniversary of coming to the amputee
I
center.
think it is my anniversary, today or yesterday.
It's very close. It was, I'm thinking it was on the 22nd.
I
Yeah.
think it was either January 22nd or 23rd.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say, like, my perspective, I was not at the center yet, but like when your grandma called to talk to me and invite me to your birthday party, you know, that your mom and your family was concerned because you had switched to online schooling and you weren't leaving your room, and they were concerned about you being a hermit. And then your grandma said to me recently, she's like, it's not that she wouldn't leave her room, she wouldn't leave the tent inside of her room.
Okay, that's kind of funny. I had a canopy around my twin-size bed,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not leave that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important to note, seeing that, you know, now we've taken you all over the country. You've flown, you know, you have left the country or left the state of West Virginia by yourself on a plane. I mean, there's like some major progress that's happened in the last 3 years.
Here's a funny thing. During that time when I was a hermit, the cops were called for a reason I'm not gonna say, but the I had to talk to him, and my mom came upstairs to tell me, "Hey, you got to go down there to talk to him." I was upstairs in my bed, no pants on, so I just wrapped myself under the blanket. I was like, "I'm not going downstairs. He can come up here if he wants to talk, though." So I made a nice cop come upstairs to talk to me to see if I was okay. I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just not moving." Because at first I didn't have my leg on. I wasn't gonna put it on.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a moment that I was like, "I'm not moving. Y'all have fun. I'm comfortable."
So, so the way that our office is set up is that, you know, the Miller's Prosthetics office is in the front when you come in there, and then in the back is the amputee center, which we are a nonprofit. So you can be a patient at other prosthetic offices and still come and receive any of the services at no cost for somebody with an amputation. And so as you came in, because again, like I said, I wasn't there yet, you know, what was your first, at age 13, what was your first impression?
I think the first impression I have was either Steve or Terry. I think it was Steve because I'm pretty sure I have a picture of him showing me how to box.
Uh-huh.
And then There's also, and then my next one after that was Terry, because I can remember his amazingly grumpy attitude. I love his attitude. But it was grumpy, and he explained to me because he also had his amputation when he was a child.
And
So
that was a bonding point that was important. And I think that's important to note that.
and right then I was like, I don't know if I want to come back, because I was like, yes, it's nice meeting people, but at the same time I'm like, none of them have gone what I've gone through. None of them have a personality that matches mine.
hmm So when did you meet Dory?
Okay, so the next week after that, my mom went to Turkey for like a week or two. My sister took me one time, and I'm pretty sure Dory wasn't there that time. But the time after that, when I came back, Dory was there. I met Dory. It was besties at first sight. My mom calls her what which my mom calls her future me. She's what my mom expects me to be like Dory when I'm older. I'm like, I don't want the stories Dory has. I'm fine.
But both of you are below the knee. Hers is the right side, yours is the left. So you would make a really great team in like a three-legged race, right? No, no, okay. So that is the thing that like I like to focus on of the value of an organization like the amputee center is the peer support and the friendships that grow from it and the lifeline that ultimately, because as much as you and I have had really great adventures together, it took that step of meeting Terry, of meeting Steve, of coming back, of being willing to come back, um, and have these experiences and just being like, well, I'm going to try it. And that's really, if I had to describe your personality, like even on your grumpiest teenager days, you're still willing to try something. So, so what was your journey in the amputee center after that? Because again, I didn't start for a little while after that. So you're just coming to like the weekly gatherings?
I was just coming for the Thursdays, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see. I didn't really do anything a, a lot until probably, or like involved with them until probably closer to the summer of 2022 when they had the boat ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking October 2021 is probably that's when you said you started the online
No,
school.
2022.
Yeah.
It was like right after. It was like a few months after I joined the ABT Center, I
hmm
think.
Yeah. And then because then I would have come in 2022. So what my favorite initial story to tell about you is that because I do have teenagers and um I know what teenager attitude is. And I've had teenagers that are now successful adults, so at least I have like, a good track record. Um so but when I actually just found that picture and showed it to you this morning, but that when you were in the silk and I said to you, you don't need a leg to do this. And I remember turning my back and like walking away from you like, oh, teenagers. And then I heard a sound, I heard a thump, and I turned around and you had like taken it off and thrown it on the floor.
Hmm.
And I stopped the picture in that moment. But that was such an important moment. And I will say it's an important moment in the success of somebody of building character building moments because in my journey and my professional journey, I remember when I found slackline yoga and I looked around the community and went, nothing about being a man or a woman makes anybody better at this. And so all the things I had been told about martial arts and any other sport that I had done, I was like, yes, but the guys do it better because bigger, stronger, faster, whatever. And so when I found slackline yoga and I looked around and went, nothing about being male or female makes you better at this, it just changed my confidence and made me want to push harder. So I feel like even in my moment of not even thinking about saying that to you is that like I wanted you to see that there are so many things you can do that in life that not having your whole leg is a challenge. Aerial yoga is not one of those. There's everything can be accessible or you can make an adaptation, at that point. And and so then in the coming weeks, when you would just lay in the hammock and be on your phone, so that's where uh finding the pose seahorse, finding a pose that just keep watching the videos until you find a pose that the person's not even using one of their legs. So seeing that development of looking at something differently instead of saying like, well, this takes two legs, we got to make a change. I just like the perspective of like, let's just find something that doesn't need two legs to do. Um, so, as you look at your journey as doing aerials and then helping at the center, um, what are some of the things that when you leave there at the end of the day give you a sense of purpose?
Talking to other new amputees or talking to other new amputees or old ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's fun to learn new things for the first point because they have tips, tricks that I wouldn't have known. And then it's also fun to help new amputees or people considering amputations, what the process after is like. And it's easy to help them see that it's not that the sugar-coated version of their doctor or other people are telling them is not realistic. There's an amputee, Kevin, everybody else was telling them it was gonna be easy, blah blah blah. I was like, it's not gonna be easy, but as long as you stick to what you want to do and your goal and not take a break, you'll be fine. I was like, you can't sugarcoat it or else, well, they're not going to be prepared for what's to come when you have to be prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. So, like, as an example, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced that maybe has surprised you? You didn't think were going to.
Climbing hills. My foot, one of my feet are now kind of like Barbie doll feet when I go out on hills because I can't have my feet at different angles or else I'm gonna fall backwards. So I somehow turned into not to walk. I used to be flat footed with a little bit of I probably had like an arch foot. Now I walk like a Barbie doll up hills, and that is so painful.
Okay.
And the other thing I was not prepared for was the ankle pains. I guess it's because I put more pressure on my right sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I get pain in my ankle, like it's just like a sore essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I was not prepared for that. And then the other thing I was not prepared for was probably the smell. I never would have thought after being I guess I did. I just never wanted to assume that it would. After being in a silicone thing all day, I get why it smells.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, nobody warned me that it was gonna smell that bad. Ever.
A good tip. I mean, I will say the first time that you were up in a silk and you were like, hey, come wipe this sweat off of my stump, I was like, wow, okay. Anything for you, Marley. Um, but that is something that's the challenge of, what all of the all of the things that come from every level of the amputation, below the knee, above the knee, the pressure on the stump, the blisters, I know this summer we were at a conference and it was insanely hot. So, to have your stump in that silicone that hot and then like it not being able to breathe, you did get a hot spot that you said just now healed. So, once that starts and being able to learn how to um, slow down and let it rest and try to let it heal and not push yourself too hard. Even if it does mean not giving up on a goal, but just changing it.
I've only ever had 2 blisters, maybe 3.
Mhm.
I didn't get them until probably last year, the year before. I did a lot, but I guess it didn't occur to me that I could.
Mhm.
and my leg didn't move as much, I guess, is the easiest way to say it.
Well, and your amputation happened before a growth spurt of, your teenage years. So, somebody as an adult that loses a leg has no understanding of what you've had to go through because each time, as the leg grows.
Each time I got what is called I'm pretty sure it's called bony overgrowth. At least that's what how the doctors explained it to me. Probably another scientific name I don't know. But essentially, it's spikes that form when you grow too fast. Essentially, like how you grow and how it's just like you add layers to your bone. That's what happens. But instead of just going like all together, it forms sharp spikes that when you step down, it feels like a knife is stabbing you. And you can kind of go to bed one night and then the next morning wake up in so much pain from trying to put your leg on, like after putting the leg on, just because it decided that it like grew more, or, like shifted. So now it's actually like prodding through your skin.
And that primarily happens with teenagers and kids because of it growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like for like people that weren't born with it, I don't even think I don't think kids born with it have it happen, but like I don't know though, but
Because your body still thinks you've got the leg.
my body, yeah, because I still can feel the toes wiggle. I can still feel when I'm going upstairs and everything. When I wake up in the morning, I sometimes forget I don't have the foot because I can just still feel it there. I'm like, this would be so much easier if I did have it, but no, I had to lose it.
So I was going to ask that if you've ever like just stepped out of bed or forgotten that the leg was gone.
What? I think that's about it. I don't even know if I forgot, but I did step down on it.
Mm-hmm.
Full feeling. Painful. But it was fine.
But so do you have what they would call phantom pain?
Yes.
Mm.
I have one that my doctors never even heard about from anybody else. Essentially, it feels like blood is rushing down, and then a sharp lightning shoots up, and then my leg starts to go numb. Blood rushes down, and then a sharp shoot of lightning shoots up my leg.
And you feel that from your residual limb to the
Yes.
stuff that's missing and back up.
Mm.
Oh.
Like, because essentially it feels like blood is just kind of falling out of my leg, like losing blood, and then sharp pain, and then it stops. So it really could just be my nerves making me remember the accident. Like, hey, this happened,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't remember the pain that I went through. Then, no, if it is like it or if it's different.
Mm-hmm. Whew, that's a lot. So how many legs have you had?
6, I think
Mm-hmm.
in total. Yeah, like 6,
And how many years?
7,
7 years.
7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Be 8 this year, I believe.
Yeah. It's turned 16. So, yeah, going back to being at the amputee center, and being able to be peer support, and it's not that you're not going to still have challenges, but what I see is that you are at this point really well equipped. You know how to speak to your doctors and your providers and say what you need and speak what you need. And so what I think is super cool is that you have been able to go to Charleston, the capital of West Virginia, and DC to help advocate. And it's funny because I say like for disability rights or people with disabilities, and I spend time in this community and I never use the word disability because I don't see you guys that way. But tell me what that experience has been like for you, like to be able to speak for people and try to make things easier for people coming after you.
It makes me inspired. No, it makes me feel empowered. Because I am just a kid from like a 30,000 people town in the middle, and like this right on the border of Ohio, like right on the river of the Ohio River. Never thought I could do that. Never thought I could be an advocate or anything. First time I went to Charleston, I was so happy. I got to talk to a senator. I got to talk to House representatives and then delegate. and then the delegates. Is that right? Yeah, I got to talk to them. I I had fun. It was interesting. I don't I cannot remember his name. I met a few really good people, and then I was kind of sad that we had to go, but I was also feeling pretty happy that I did it. And then for the one that I went to DC with, I was so happy because the build was important.
Mm-hmm.
The bill that I was trying to advocate for is really important.
And I think it's so important to put a face on disability because it's easy for people to say, well, I'm just going to help somebody who, doesn't have all that I have. But when you put a face and a personality um, to someone and say, like, this is, some of our amputees work full time. They don't have, like Dory, she's like, my job before was sitting at a desk. My job after amputation was sitting at a desk, um, but to be able to say that, like, what we like to do, we plan excursions, we've flown places together, and to be able to say that that would not be as easy or accessible if it wasn't for the people like you going and advocating and making sure that there's ramps and making sure there's elevators and making sure that there's a wheelchair service for somebody so you don't have to walk 15 miles in the airport really fast. So um, I think that's a really important part of the journey in saying that within 3 years of someone who wouldn't even come out of their room um, for, for a really serious talk with a nice police officer, but you could now walk across, the state capitol or talking to our senators to say that, people just like you with no fault of their own, things happen, accidents happen. And that, with everything that you have and you have been given in this life, that, there's so many more people that you can inspire and also help feel empowered. Um, I think one of the biggest things that I like to point out is that in a world of amputees, people who were disabled, um, or have been laying in the hospital bed, pushed around in a wheelchair and felt helpless and had to have their dad carry them, is that and I've seen you do this from day one, is that when somebody needs their walker and they're across the room, I see you and the other amputees help each other so much. Like, okay, I can jump up and go get that walker and get it over to them quickly. I can push the wheelchair. I can help Tiffany, go out to her car and carry her legs. So, those moments that, you get to be of service. And then with this nonprofit that you see, like, people who we serve are also the ones that turn into our biggest volunteers. Um, and, being able to help with the bungee class, being able to help with community classes. And, there is a part of people that come in with their own insecurities. And in that moment when somebody says, I don't know if I can do this class, I don't know if I fit in here. And then we can just look at them and say, well, somebody who has less body parts than you is here and doing it. So let's try it. Maybe you can. So it gets to be that not that you have to always be inspiring to people, but that I think the word empower is really good because you can say, like, well, you can try it. You might not like it, but I'm telling you, you probably can do it. And I think that's just such a unique sense of purpose that comes from what we do. So you went to kids camp
Yes.
and that was in Texas.
I went to 3 of them.
Okay.
My first one, it was part of the coalition. It was part of the Astro Amputee Coalition conference. It was in Palms Desert, California. Am I right? Or is it Palm Springs? It's either Palm Springs or Palms Desert. It's wherever like the tree that Rob went to see is.
Okay.
I don't know. I cannot remember.
Joshua Tree.
Yeah, what that is.
Okay.
And then I went there. I met amputee. I went kids. I was shy at first. I met a group of people that I clicked with, and then that good year after that, I came back. So I was like, let's try it again. We liked it the first year. So I went back. It was fun. That time it was in Orlando. We went to SeaWorld the last day. We had some fun. It was pretty easy. And then last year, we were in Texas. We went to Aranzazu, Texas, I think it was called. No, we went to I think it was Rockport, Texas. I think it was called Aranzazu though. And then at least that was what the camp was called. And then we went there. It was fun. It was like there was a big swing type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled you back and then they let you go and you go swinging. I got pulled to the top, had to be let back down a little bit, and then I just kind of dropped and I just kind of let go. But it was
Sounds like a medieval catapult. I love it.
Kind of was. No, because like all you could see below you was the concrete. There was nothing else under you.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. And then I me and my friend were kayaking. She kept hitting things. I thought it would be a good idea to let her be in the front. No, she kept hitting things, hitting the edge of the water, and just we were both failing. And finally, she's above the knee, left, I think. And so I thought we had the unspoken rule where I lean more to one side so I can balance this out because she was leaning around the middle. No, she leaned that way, and we flip over into an all natural pond, and then she climbs back in the kayak and leaves me. So I have to like walk to the edge with like a gross leg. There's a video of somewhere of me yelling at Divine about her about it.
So that was this year's
Yeah.
kids, and that one you said was where in Texas?
Rockport?
Okay.
It's like Camp Aransas.
So that was a big thing because you flew by yourself for the first time at 16, at 15.
At 15.
At 15. That's pretty amazing.
Was nervous.
Let's see this perspective. Girl who won't leave her room. 22 months later, she's on a plane by herself. I think that's pretty amazing.
What's scary about that is that was the first time of me actually going solo flying. But I had flown 3 times before. One coming back from South Carolina. One going and coming and going to the first camp. Second camp with my mom. And then third time I was like, I can do it. I might be a little nervous, but I can do it. So I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the coalition by myself, technically. I had Dory, but
That is not by yourself.
that's technically by myself. I had a Dory.
Do you know Dory will be listening to this?
I had a Dory. You left us alone. She has the personality of a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you get to step up and be the adult.
No.
So what's next for your leg? I know you just got one a couple months ago.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what do they tell you what's next? I mean, you said your dad's 6'6", so you could get taller.
Hopefully I don't, but if I do, I could have to have another surgery. They get easier as they go. Doesn't make it any less terrifying, but first one terrified, second one terrified. I figured out a schedule. I figured out like how it works. I don't look at my leg until it's healed. Until sutures are gone and I know they're gone and it's healed. Next. And so I know by now. I don't look at it because I don't want my leg to change more than it already has. I know if I look at it, I'm gonna get sad because it changed because I had to have surgery again. So I wait till it heals and it looks the exact same.
Okay. So, but you're looking at, if you don't get much taller, you would just have another prosthetic leg every 2 or 3 years?
I don't know, because it really just depends on weight change, height change, my leg change in general. So for all I know, I could have this like for the next 5 years, if it lasts that long. But foot shells last like about a year for me. The actual leg itself.
Foot shell, so just the bottom, so for people who don't know, just the bottom part.
It's just on the actual foot is metal. But because you can't have them on a foot because it doesn't have any support or any like
just traction.
Traction, yeah. That's the word. And then they didn't have any traction or anything. They put a rubber foot looking thing that they try to match to your skin tone on the outside, so you can wear shoes. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it's nice, but walking barefoot is a struggle.
And you like to be barefoot.
I do.
Yeah, I feel you. But they can just replace that shell, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I mean, that's interesting to know. I mean, there's all these things. I mean, just like now, I mean, coming here, you have to think about the liner and the sock and how many layers you put on your foot and or on the stump and um, there's a whole level of care to take care of your leg that, is a big responsibility and nobody's going to do it for you from
Yeah.
now on, you're basically almost an adult. So when you think of the amputee center, um, and what it is in your life, what are some memorable points that you'd take into your adult life from being at the center?
Don't just assume somebody needs help. Like, I've known this for a while, but it really clicked in the AT center when I was just hanging out and they're like, people falling and everything else. Like, okay. I was like, I'm not going to help them because I don't think they want it. But like, they know when to ask. And if if I don't ask you for help, please don't help me. That's the point that I will take into my adult life and try to tell people because like, as long as I know what I'm doing and have either the strength, the courage, and able to do it myself, and not in dire need of an ambulance, I am able to just help myself back up if I fall, or help myself load groceries into the car.
Mm-hmm.
My leg doesn't define the fact that I'm still a human. I'm still capable of anything you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one I would just take you to is never trust Dory on a boat. That's another point. Don't tell her I said that, please.
She's probably going to listen to this. But, so what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to work on a boat. I want to work on like a super yacht. I either want to do physical outdoor labor like a deckhand. So I want to like clean the outside of the boat, get things out, or I want to work on the inside of the boat. But I'm like, I want to work on a boat. I have been for years, and I'm not gonna let this define me and say I can't do it because there's no legs that work on the water. I'm like, there is. Is it gonna be a problem to find waterproof ones? Sure, but I can figure that out when it comes to it, and figure out what I need for me personally.
So why on a boat?
Okay, so I watched Below Deck, the show about essentially about what I wanted to do. I watched. I was like, okay, this career field seems interesting. Let me look into it, see what it is. So I did, and I was like, this actually sounds really cool. And I'm like, it's kind of like what my aunt does because she was a cruise director for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to at least try it out for a few years, see what it is like, and then go from there. And then after that, I think I want to be a nurse.
Okay. Why do you want to be a nurse?
Well, I'm pretty sure I promised my grandma that, or like she assumed. It's like that's just assumed to me. I just like helping people, and I don't want to be a therapist. I can't deal with people's emotions. It's draining, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I can't deal with people needing like physical therapist. I know for a fact that I can't. I don't want to have to learn anything about that. But I'm okay with being like a nurse because like I can help people. I can be there if they need to talk to somebody, but I won't have to have 1,000 people on my brain about. Oh, so I have to make sure this is happening or this is happening. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, so I can have like a day-to-day basis. I'm like, plus my great grandma has always assumed that one of us is going to be a nurse, and she's now promising that it's going to be me.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? Sure. I'll try it. I'll try it out and see how it goes.
um, so if you could, so we have a couple of things and then we'll be done. But when you think about families who will, I mean, life happens. There's going to be families like your family that will be facing this situation, the guilt of being the one getting off the tractor, did you get to the hospital fast enough, all the things that go through a parent's mind, and then the integrating an amputee child into your life. What is some advice you would give to families facing what your family went through?
Stop feeling guilty. It does not help the child. In all honesty, it makes them feel worse. They know that you can pretend like you're acting happy and trying to keep it out of it, but they can tell when you feel bad and you feel guilty, and it makes them feel bad because they put you there in their opinion. In my own opinion, I felt that I put my parents in the guilt, and it was bad. So don't try not to feel guilty. I get that you will, but even if you do, tell your child you feel guilty. Don't just have the whole bad attitude around it. Because then the child will feel it and first of all feel really sad about it, angry that the fact that you're not telling them how you feel about what's happening. It's to integrate them into your life. If they might be independent like I was or need 24/7 assistance, but if they wanted to try something themselves, let them. Don't just put them in a bubble because one bad thing happened. Yes, it was a major accident, but as long as they want to try something new, let them, because it's a good experience, even if they don't end up liking it. It's like, okay, so I can walk this far, but climbing a hill is a little bit difficult. Or I can run like this, but running normally is not for me. You have to try new things to learn things, and even if like the child doesn't end up liking doing anything that they've tried, let them try for the most part, because they will want to eventually, and they'll look back on it. They're, okay, I'm glad I tried this because now I know more about my body and what I can do and what I can't do. And going through more surgeries and like getting new legs and for new legs, just let your child try to explain how they feel the best they can. And if they can't, have them talk to you instead of just straight to the doctor. Talking to a doctor about how I feel about my leg for the first year or two, was extremely difficult because, well, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel comfortable telling them that it was painful here, so I just dealt with it. So instead of having them talk straight to the doctor, like you want your child to be independent like that and blah 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 blah, have them talk to you about that. So then you can bring it up to their doctor, even if it is in front of their doctor, because they'll feel more comfortable talking to you about it than they will a strange person, even if you are helping them.
Nice. Communication.
Communication is key.
Yes.
It works for everything. Try it.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else you want to add about life, amputation, wisdom?
Neurotin. Don't make your child take liquid Neurotin unless you want to try it, but if they have to. That's my final statement.
That was your bad experience.
No, like listen, it tastes like someone was dying in my mouth. My parents didn't believe me until my mom accidentally licked it off her hand. Horrible. And then I bet my dad tried. Cause like, if I take this, you should at least try it. Horrible.
I think that that's such an important perspective, especially, as kids, is we have to believe them, and a kid patient is not just a tiny adult. Like they have a lot of different experiences that they're having. And like you said, even your memories coming back, you're like, I don't know, did that happen or was that part of a dream? And the side effects of medications or not wanting to take medications. So it's a big part of your journey.
Just trust them if they say the medicine is bad. It's not just because they're being dramatic and just not wanting to take it. It's actually because it's bad. And just try to find someone that can help them after they take it. Like, even if you just have a cup of water for them to rinse their mouths out with after they're done, it helps.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Marley.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of My Missing Piece. Be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and join the conversation. Let's rewrite the narrative together.